Well, welcome back to my channel. Today we are working on the 2005 Ford Freestyle. The other day we started leaking a little water. It's kind of hard to tell, but right in here is a weep hole, and it started dripping from there. You see it's kind of nasty gray down in there, and that's from all the water. So we get to change this out today. It's hard to believe, on the side of the motor here, this is the water pump right here. That's where the water pump is. We got all these hoses that's coming off here. The bad thing about all this is plastic, so you gotta be really careful we don't break all that. So I figured I'd do a how-to video on how to do this. First thing we want to do though is get this breather box out of the way. And it's just basically one little bolt here. You want to get these clips out of here. This thing here has a little red thing. All you do is pull that up, and this thing here should just pull right off. Now when there's got a little green thing, you just pull over to the side, get a little wiggle, and that comes off. This one here, just kind of pull it up out of the way. And that's it. Now we're just going to unscrew it back here, and then screw it right there, and take this out. I'll be back in a second. Now as you can see, got it out of the way. You can see more what I'm talking about. See all these hoses? All these got to come off. This is all plastic basically. I mean, you could kind of leave them on there if you wanted to, but we're not, because we don't want to take any chance of breaking the plastic. Get these hoses off, and we got a couple bolts here, one here and one on the other side there, that hold that housing on there. We just do not want to take the chance of breaking any of this, because if you break it, you're gonna wish you wouldn't have. Oh, wait a minute. Hell, I might be doing this backward. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Hell, them are all hoses. I bet I can just take them two bolts out. As you look, you can see I got most of the hose clamps out of the way, so I can take it off. But I wanted to show you something, so I'm going to leave this down here. See if I can get a good picture of it. So I can get a good angle on it here. Okay. Because you got to squeeze these things. I mean, you can do it with a pair of pliers. But over and all, the best thing I found is just this cheap tool right here. All it does is go down here, and these hook onto that hose clamps, like so, and you squeeze the handle up here, which squeezes that. These are like 10 bucks. I think I got these at O'Reilly's a few years ago. They are a lifesaver. I mean, you can use pliers and try to squeeze them and pull them off, but most of the time it's a pain in the butt. Those things are just so simple. Just a good tool to have. As you can see, we got it off. This is a thermostat housing, is what this is. If you look in there, you see a thermostat in there. I should replace the thermostat at this time, but it's been working just fine, and I'm not going to do it. And there's the water pump housing. That's why we took it all off. See, I got all this room. Now I gotta do is take these two bolts off, and the whole thing comes away from the motor. And this water pump is ran off by the top cam right there. This will be your top overhead cam, and it hooks into that, and that's what runs the water pump on this motor. As you can see, we got it off. I lied. It had 3 bolts that hold it on. One here, one over here, and one up here. And this here is the cam. That's the overhead cam right there. There's the water pump. As you see where she's been leaking there, she's been spitting her out. Probably a good thing too. You see how that's all rusted up? That's probably from where it was sitting for a couple years before I got my hands on it. Now I gotta take this off, take these little bolts off right here, because all we want this top housing. All right, let me get it apart. Well, we got it split apart. Here's what the inside of the old housing looks like. This is what the new one looks like. Same thing, except for they got rid of the bolt that goes through here and bolts into the crank. I mean, into the head. I mean, it's kind of obsolete. You already got 3 big bolts holding it in there anyway, so you really don't need it. This is the cover we took off of it. As you can see, we got some rust around here. So we're going to clean that up real good before we install it. Here's the old gasket to come off of it. They didn't use silicone on it, so I guess I won't be using silicone anyway. And this is kind of a, let's say a tin gasket, because it's not really quartz or anything like that. You can see it's got metal on it. Now let me get this cleaned up. Okay, as you can see, I got it all back together here. I still got to tighten the bolts down. Real simple, real easy. I have a lot of times when I do these, people want to ask questions, what tools did I use? Well, you already saw the one up there for the hose clamps. And this is the main tool I'm using today. This little snap-on thing here. I bought this years ago when I was working in a mechanic shop, and this thing has saved my butt many times. Just gotta be really careful with it, because this thing is really powerful. Watch. It will twist these little bolts like nothing. But if you're gonna use air tools, you want to use something like this here. You don't want to bang out the big ratchet like I got. Now I'm not trying to get them tight. I'm just snugging them down for now. Kind of hard to do this and hold this still at one time. But what you do after you get them down, get it back on, and just give it a little crank. That's all you want to do, just a little crank. Nothing too major. Just want to make sure they're good and snug and tight. And that's it. You can see we are together. All right, let me put it back together here. And I'm trying to set this in here. You guys get a view of what I'm doing here. Okay, there's my hand, okay. Well, you guys can kind of see what's going on. Like I said, there's 3 bolts that hold this thing on. You gotta make sure you line up the cam. This cam here has to line up with the grooves on that thing right there. So it might take you a second to get her there. Come on, baby, line up. There it is. Now you see why they don't need that nut, that bolt that went all the way through. It's already got 3 bolts holding it. They don't need a 3rd one. Bring out my little air ratchet here and snug these bad boys down. Since you got them tight, just give them a little extra snug to make sure they're good. Like I said, they don't have to be too tight because these bolts won't hold a whole lot of power on them, a whole lot of tension. Just want to make sure they're good and tight. There it is. Now, as you can see on the thermostat housing here, right here, has a rubber O-ring that goes around there. And that slides into this hole right here. Now, I'm gonna put a little silicone on here. You see, they done that before, it's blue. I'm gonna put a little gray on there just to make sure. Try to help it out some. Now, as you can see, I didn't put a whole lot on there. I just put a little thin layer. That's all I did. Now we gotta try to get it to go back in that hole, which is going to be fun. There it is. That's simple. Now we just gotta put the bolts back in it. Let me set you down here where I can get it lined up here. Alright, I got the bolts in there. As you can see, it's in there. There's one bolt, the other bolt's over there. Now I just gotta go through here and tighten them all down. Like there's a bunch of them, there's only 2 of them, but you know, you gotta make it sound good, right? Make it sound like I'm doing a lot of work. Like I said, you just want to snug these down. Don't want to crank them down, just snug them. Then you just want to go back and give them a little bit more tightness to it. You do not want to break these. That would be bad all the way around. There it is, my friend. That's all the bolts there is. One new water pump installed. See how easy that thing was? And you know, I called around. The dealership wanted $800 to do that. $800. Can you believe that nonsense? And I called around to some of the local shops here in town. Most of them are right around $600 to do that. I'm telling you, these shops are ripping people off. I understand some people don't know how to do these things and they gotta have somebody do it. But these shops are just crazy ripping people off. Now that water pump was $140 for that water pump. But to me, that is just too much money for a freaking water pump. They're just straight robbing people. I understand a lot of these mechanics, they've been doing this for years. They went to school, you know, they got to keep buying tools, stuff that's expensive. But you got to realize it ain't the mechanics that's making all the money. It's the garages. Garages are charging crazy price. So let's say at the dealership, the Ford dealership, they wanted all that money. That part's probably $150, $160, $200, somewhere in that area, you know, at the dealership price. So, you know, what's that leave? Out of $800, what's that, $600 left over? The mechanic probably got about 60 or 70 bucks of that. And that's it. The rest of that's all the dealership's money. And that same principle works in mechanic shops. To me, that's just highway robbery. And when I pull up on my tow truck and I'm doing a cash call and I want to charge $60 to hook up your car and $3 a mile, people go ballistic over it. And most of them tickets are only probably, you know, about, them cash calls average about 70 bucks, 80 bucks for a tow. But you'll pay $800 to have that water pump put on your car. People are freaking stupid. You know somebody, your brother, your neighbor, somebody knows how to work on a car, talk to them. Because there's no way in hell I'd pay that kind of money for a water pump. I would junk this car first. I would literally take my tow truck and tip this bitch over. Or I'd find the nearest demolition derby and take this thing and try to have some fun with it before I paid $800 to have a water pump done. All right, let me finish getting these hoses hooked up. We got some more work to do here. Here's another trick that I want to warn you guys about that they don't tell you when you do these. When you mess with these spring-loaded clamps here, these things here, if you see on this hose right here, you see it's got grooves. You always want to line this back up into them grooves. Always. Here, let me see if I can get a better angle on this. See how it's there? Now if I release it right in there, which I didn't, see it's not in the grooves. You always want to put those in the grooves. And the reason why I like these clamps real well is because over time, like these regular hose clamps, as tight as you get them, that's as tight as they'll ever be. So over time the hose can shrink or spread or whatever, and it can start to leak. These things here, once you got them in them grooves, they steadily keep putting tension on the hose. So if the hose shrinks or pieces come off, they'll keep opening up and keep it tight. But make sure you get them back in the groove. Now I got to fix that, so because that'll leak like a sieve. As you can see, I got all the hoses back on. And see, I even fixed that one there and got it in its grooves. I cannot stress that enough to you, to get them clamps back in their grooves where they belong. All right, the only thing left I got to do is put the breather box system on it. Then I get to go grab another tool and do the get the system to burp out with antifreeze, which, you know, that's always going to be fun, get all that air out. Be right back with you. Well, yeah, I got it all back together. As you can see, there's the water pump, the hoses, the breathers all back in. I started it. I'm doing the burping stage now. Take my little tool off. You've all seen me use that before, the burp systems. Right now it's got antifreeze in it, but as soon as the thermostat opens up, then all the water's gonna run out and I have to add more to it. Put that back on. No spill, no mess. Got it running in here. Make sure you turn the heater and all that stuff on. Turn it up and let it blow. If water is running through the heater cord, it helps burp the system a lot easier and a lot better. Now, me doing that water pump, I would estimate it probably took me a whole 30 minutes maybe to do all that. But we'll say an hour. Just, you saw me trying to do it in stages, trying to grab a camera for you. You know, it's a little harder when you're trying to kind of record it too. And try not to run the battery down on your camera. But you seen how easy it was, step by step. Good luck to you folks. I hope this helps you. Just make sure you get all the air out of the system. Thank you. You know what to do. Like and subscribe. I need all your help.